Hello person dreamers, welcome to my channel. I'm Candice. How are you today? If you're new here, this channel is a little space for me to share my daily vlogs and some career inspirations. So if you're interested in this content, make sure you subscribe and comment on what would you like to hear from me. You all had a good week. We here in London just had the hottest Friday, or should I say the hottest day ever. I think it went up to 36 or 37 degrees at some point of today. It's really hot. I'm very lucky to have air conditioning in my house, but I think it's really rare to see such a hot day here in London. I think it's the highest temperature it has reached since I moved to the UK 3 years ago. So today's topic, I guess, is a really relevant one at the current days where most of us are working from home a lot, or at least staying at home a lot. So I think it's worth sharing some thoughts I had on how to stay productive when you're staying at home. But I do want to say that I think this is a topic that it's very personal. So whatever works for you, works for you. I feel like maybe some tips that work for some people might not work for other people at all. And what I'm going to share is hopefully going to be a little bit helpful to you. It worked for me, so I thought it's worth sharing it. But the key is to explore what makes you most comfortable, what helps you stay fresh all day, and what helps you stay productive while you're working from home. Tip number one, I would say, is to stay hydrated, because I personally find that it's really easy to forget drinking water or drinking anything when I'm at home. I don't know why. I feel like when I'm in the office, maybe because my colleagues takes break to go to the kitchen area to grab a tea or grab a coffee, and then I'll just kind of like come along. So that's kind of what happens in the office. But when I'm at home, I can be so just stick to the table area and do not move around, so it's easy for me to forget drinking water. And a tip for reminding yourself to drink is to store some of the drinks you like, but obviously healthy ones, hopefully. Either it's juice or sparkling water, or coffee or tea. So just make sure it's kind of like in your cupboard or even just on your table so you can see them all the time. And because you like to drink them, you will make yourself a drink instead of having to just drink water all the time. But of course, if you're just someone who likes drinking water, that's even better. I think water is always going to be the best choice. For me personally, it depends on the weather a lot. So if it's really chilly or it's kind of like cool or even cold, I will go for things like lemon and ginger tea, or just a cream tea, or some sort of tea bag infused things. And then when it's kind of like warm or it's hot, I really like blood orange juice with sparkling water. So I always have those two when it's coming into a warm week, so that I'll always, pop by the fridge and grab myself a drink. But I do think that aside from these flavored drinks, either it's juice or tea or coffee, we do need to drink water as well. So normally I will drink the things I like, maybe a juice or something, and then I'll always have another glass of just plain water on the side. So I drink some water as well. I think that's really healthy. So that's one thing. Tip number two is to always get some time before you finish off one day to plan for the next day. This is because I think it's more important to have planning for the next day become a ritual when we are working from home, because as opposed to working in the office, working from home, we're more isolated, and it would take us longer time to get into the working vibe, if you will. Whereas when we work in the office, the minute you step in the office, you are surrounded by your colleagues, and it's just, that's the place to work. So I think I do find it a bit tricky to get into the mood when I first start working from home. And then once I start doing this planning for the next day kind of little process, and I found out that every morning when I start, I just look at my notes, and I got the focus of today, and I'll just start. And once it kicks off, I think it's always the same thing, like working or doing anything or writing a thesis when I was a student. It's the same kind of pattern. Once you kicked off, once you start, once you got into the zone, it becomes easier. I think like the getting to the zone step is the most difficult one, and then planning for the next day will help you get into the zone quicker the next morning. And when it comes to like, how do I plan? I've tried this way over the last few weeks actually, and it worked quite well, because before I normally just plan on the task basis. I'll just see, okay, who I need to talk to tomorrow, what do I need to do tomorrow, and things like that. But recently I've changed it. I've tried this new way of just planning for a keyword or a theme or a focus, whatever you call it, for the next day, and I'll have no more than two, normally one for the morning and one for the afternoon. So for example, I'll say for the morning I'll be focusing around subject X, and then in the afternoon I'll be focusing around project Y, and then specific task, sometimes I plan for it and sometimes I'll leave some time to think about it on the actual day as well. I think having a focus would really help me just generally concentrate it on one thing, because obviously there will be ad hocs that comes in my diary, either as a catch up or like a random little task or a meeting or something like that. That does break up my time, but as long as I have that theme, I have that keyword in my mind about this half day, you know, this morning, this afternoon, I find it very easy to get back to it, because either the page is going to be open around that subject, or because I have it in my calendar, so whenever I come off a catch up, I'll be clear about what task I'm going back into. Tip number 3 is actually to try and be comfortable to take more breaks than you normally will, if that makes sense. I think, again, this I think is actually quite a personal one. Some people would be reboost through taking breaks, whereas some people might find it really distracting. So it's really, really up to you. But for me, I take at least 2 breaks every half a day. So I take 2 breaks in the morning and I take 2 breaks in the afternoon, and obviously there's lunch in between as well. And the reason for that is because I think when we're at home, it's going to be quite easy for us to just sit there for a whole, 3-4 hours without leaving the seat at all. And I don't think that's very good when it comes to productivity, and it's just not good for your health, I guess, in general, because your body probably needs some stretching and needs some active walks around the house, or at least. So I think it would be beneficial if you just stand up to take a break, or take a nap in the afternoon if you need to. And I think if you combine this with the drinking water thing I said at the beginning, that would work quite well, because if you remind yourself to take a break and then drink some water, you will notice a difference when you come back to your seat. Okay, I think that's it. That's how I keep myself productive while working from home. I think it's definitely very, very challenging, especially we've now all worked from home for quite a while. I think, for those of us who are still going to be working from home for the next couple of months, definitely worth trying to see some different ways to keep our body active, to keep ourselves, excited during the day. Hopefully this might be a little bit helpful to you. If you do have some tips to keep up the productivity when working from home or working from anywhere really, comment down below and let me know about those wonderful tips, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!